Welcome to the second lecture of this module on user needs and preferences. In this lecture I will tell you about a few psychological theories. Generally these theories are considered that they might be a little too simple to really explain how the work environment is experienced, but they do help us understand why people experience their environment the way they do. So I will tell you about two different theories stemming from the environmental psychology field. The first one is the person-environment fit model, and the other one is called the job demands resources model. The person-environment fit model stems from the 1970s, and it basically sees the work environment fit as a function. They say that human behavior is a function of both the person and the environment. So it's not one of these aspects that's creating the fit, it's actually how they fit each other, which is creating a positive workplace experience. So if this fit is okay, then people are satisfied and motivated and they can do their job well. And it's said if this fit is not so good, then people get stressed and they cannot perform their work really well and they are not as happy with the work environment. And generally this theory has three basic distinctions of fit. So there's this fit between the person and the environment, and that's important to consider. But there's also a fit between the objective person and environment and a subjective person and environment. So objectively, a person and also an environment might be different from the way it is perceived or seen by other people. And so a person cannot be happy perhaps with a work environment that is actually quite good, but it's not perceived like that. A third distinction of this theory is the one between demandability fit and need supply fits. So the demandability fit means that a work environment should not demand more from a person than that this person is able to do. And if we look at physical design, a very simple example is that if a person is in a wheelchair and there is only a stairs to get inside the building, then of course he's not able to do that. And the other fit in this distinction is the need supply fit, which we already talked about in the previous lecture a lot, and we have to meet the needs with the supplies that we are offering with the work environment. So the job demand resources model is related to this theory and also stems from the 1970s. And it says there are basically two aspects of the work environment. On the one hand, there are the job demands, which can give a negative experience to people, and on the other hand, there are the job resources. And both can be physical things, social things, or organizational aspects of the job, but also of the work environment and also of the physical work environment. The job demands, they require some kind of effort, a physical effort or mental effort. For example, if there's too much noise, it's more difficult to concentrate. So they are associated with a certain cost. It can be physiological or psychological. And for the organization in the end, it can even be a real cost, in a sense that people can get less productive. The job resources are creating a more positive workplace experience. They can help you in function better, in doing your work better. They can stimulate you in personal growth and development. And they can even alleviate job demands to a certain extent. So there is also this relationship between job resources and demands. It's not an easy model if you look at it. Here you can see a full example of this model, and it shows that job demands can be mental, emotional, physical, but also a lot of other things can cause a certain strain of employees and therefore affect the organizational outcomes in the end. If we look at the job resources, they can provide support of all kinds of needs. They can create a certain autonomy that people need to feel well. It can be feedback from employees or from your boss, and also a lot of other things. And they all help to motivate people and thus give a positive effect on organizational outcomes. But as you can see, there's also a lot of errors between the demands, the resources, the strain and the motivation. So in the end, it's a very complex process of supporting employees. And this balance is something that a workplace manager also has to find and create. On the one hand, a workplace manager can provide all kinds of resources. Resources that help connect people, resources that prevent sick building syndrome, and all kinds of other things. But there will always be certain demands of a work environment. So most of those are negative, For example, an employee that you really don't like because this person is making a lot of phone calls and it's in an open office, you're struggling with that, with the noise from that. But demands can also be positive in a certain way, because they can also help you grow and learn and advance yourself by the experience that you get from them. So, but finding this balance between demands and resources is important for a workplace manager. There are also a lot of other theories that we could apply to workplace design, but there's too many of those to show you all in such a short lecture and in this module. A few examples I've provided here just to give you an idea, and I've taken up online tutorials to explain a little bit more about this theory for you. For example, the privacy regulation theory, and why do we sometimes want to meet people and in other moments we don't want to interact with people. Or another theory called the stimulus response theory of coping. It's interesting to apply to a physical workplace design as well. How do we deal with noise or other negative aspects of the physical design if we are confronted with that? A similar thing, especially relevant for flexible offices, could be the behavioral economics theory, which could help us find out why people use the office the way they do if they get the freedom to choose where to work and how to work. And also control theory, obviously, could be relevant for a physical workplace manager as well. But as I said, you can have a look at the online tutorial to learn a little bit more about these theories and also the papers that are referred to in the module.